Hey everybody, I'm starting office hours a few minutes early just to see if I can get my system working a little bit better. You guys know I'm using a new system, and yes, they haven't fixed the frame rate yet, so I'm still a little bit video robot slow motion, but I'm trying to see if this will stream to YouTube and to LinkedIn. Thanks to everybody who helped yesterday with my setup on that. That was not easy. Um, so it is office hours. Ask me anything. I do have two fantastic questions that came in anonymously. So we're going to take a look at those first. But meanwhile, let's get set up. And if you guys have questions, please let me know. Again, this is office hours. Ask me anything. I'll be around for about an hour. And you can ask me any questions you have in the world of these things, the UX, the CX, all the things. So let's see, I'm trying to get all the windows set up. So YouTube looks set up, LinkedIn is being crabby. Neon says you could cut video and do audio only. Old school. Yeah, I actually, when I do the scheduled podcasts that usually have guests, I do then cut those. They're archived on YouTube with video, and then they are cut as audio only and disseminated via RSS to Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play podcasts. So you can listen to audio only versions, though not of the office hours. Those are all archived on YouTube, though you're welcome to run a YouTube video with your eyes closed. Hello. How are we doing today? How's my audio sounding? I hope I'm not buffering too much. My internet seems to be working. Video looks good. Yeah, I know it's still a low frame rate. I'm working with customer support on that. Their first guess of what the problem was not the right guess. Got in earlier through the, I'll put up the URL if you guys want to ask an anonymous question. You can do it through the URL on the screen, which is https, whatever, deltacx.link. .link is my URL shortener, so deltacx.link/AMA, like ask me anything. And that will send me a question via email, but completely anonymously. I won't know who you are at all. And then I can answer it. So I'm going to go into the two questions that I received. One is definitely a shorter answer than the other. So I'm going to start with the shorter one. And I'll also be checking in from time to time in both YouTube and in LinkedIn to see if anybody else has additional questions or follow-up questions to what I say. So the first question I got in, this came in on Thursday. Someone wrote, "Hi, Debbie, really enjoy your office hours sessions. Thank you. I find them super insightful and thought-provoking. Hope so. Anyway, I have a couple of questions for you. I'd love to hear your perspectives on them. I've been working on crafting a set of personas, customer types in our company, but I'm worried that they will just be another poster on the wall without people seeing the real value out of it. I'm not a big fan of traditional personas at all, but I had to create them for the sake of our company having them. So my questions are, how do you feel about personas? Do you think there's real value in it? And if yes, how would you go about making them? Thanks so much again." So that was the anonymous question that came in, and that's what I'm going to work on answering. Let's see. Neon says he's at the bus stop in Sunnyvale. Oh, good luck, Neon. Hopefully I'm not buffering too much. Yesterday, the stream went really well to YouTube and really badly to LinkedIn, and I don't know who to blame for that right now. But let's answer that question about personas. People run really hot and cold on personas. I hear people saying, never do them. I hear people saying, always do them. There's an article going around LinkedIn now where they say, sometimes do them. So how do I feel about them? I do like to do them on projects if I can, of course, make them from proper research. I will never make a persona if I have to guess at the persona. At that point, it's not good. It doesn't look good for our craft and our industry. It just sounds like we guess at stuff, and so can you. So I would say if we have really good research, observational research, and or interviews, things that really involved real target archetypal customers, I think personas can be good. And then, of course, you would have to share them, socialize them, not just put them up as a poster on the wall, but be able to explain to people what are the value of these personas, how do we use these personas. And I talk about this a little bit in my book as well, in the Delta CX book, where I talk about how ultimately if we do personas well, a set of personas should be used by everybody. Product is thinking about prioritizing features for these target customers. Marketing is thinking about how they present and speak to these customers. Developers are building something for these customers. QA is testing with the mindset as if they are these customers. So I think personas can be useful when they are made correctly and well socialized. But the person who asked the question is right. If you're making personas just because someone said to do it and they end up a poster on the wall and nobody really cares or knows why they're there, then sure, they can seem pretty valueless. And I do think that personas, again, can also be valueless when we made them up. And I see that in some portfolio projects, especially for like trade schools. I see people saying like, I have this fake project for this school, and then I made a persona. And I'm like, whoa, you didn't talk to anybody. Where'd that come from? So we don't want to do it from guesses and assumptions. So all in all, I would say to the person who wrote the question that I think that there can be value in personas, but the value is certainly what you make of it, in that it is quite possible that they can be valueless. I love to make them, but again, I tend to make them from very strong data, certainly from piles of customer interviews. Where possible, I try to do at least 20 or 30 interviews with different types of people, and then I find the personas almost make themselves. But I think that's just one of my specialties. So if you guys have personas questions or comments or disagreements, put them in the rooms. I want to see what you guys think, or if you have any follow-up questions. We've got 3 people on YouTube, hello, and 6 on LinkedIn right now. I'm going to answer a question in the chat room, and then I'm going to go back to the other one that was asked through the anonymous link, which is on your screen. deltacx.link/AMA is if you want to ask an anonymous question, and you can certainly see based on what these anonymous questions are, why people wouldn't want to ask them, because then we see who they are and they're talking about their jobs. So Corrales, hello Corrales, says, in banking and fintech, traditional banks will talk up CX a lot and hammer on UX more. Does UX lead CX? Are the two that much different? Which is moving the needle most right now, and why? That's a great question. And again, that's another opinion question where I may have an opinion that's different from other ones you see or hear. But my opinion on that is, first of all, you have the traditional definitions of things. And I'm not going back to 1990 with the original definition of UX. That ship has sailed and that definition has changed. If we're talking about today, the traditional definitions are that CX is the customer experience, and it's everything, I like to say, it's everything your customer can touch and everything that touches your customer. So it's every part of that brand experience: products, services, experiences, digital stuff. It's absolutely everything that someone can experience with your company, paid or unpaid, user or customer. I don't fight over what those words are. Traditionally, UX, again, not 30 years ago, but more recently, UX is seen as a subset of CX. So CX is that entire customer experience. Some say it's going to replace branding. Whereas UX was seen as the work that is done on digital screens. So basically all of your research, architecture, design, testing related to phones, computers, smartwatches, thermostats, Tesla dashboard. If it is a digital screen, it's considered UX. So again, you might say user, customer, what's the difference? Are these the same? In my world and in my book, I believe these should be brought together, because I'm seeing that UX is widely misunderstood and disrespected, and CX is mostly super loved and highly respected. We care. If you ask a company like, oh, we care about the customer's experience and we care about all of these touch points and interactions, yet nobody wants to invest in a better product. They all just want to go fast, agile, lean, scrum, and oh, just get it out there. They'll figure it out. But we never say that about the hotel check-in. We never say, make the hotel check-in kind of crappy and they'll figure it out. It's like, no, wait, that's a human service. We better design that much better. So I believe I'm trying to shift some of my language from UX to CX, even when I'm talking about working with screens, because I find that CX just does have a lot more of the power and respect right now. UX has a little bit of a branding problem. People don't understand it. They think anybody can do it. They think it's design thinking. It's just a bit of a mess out there. So which is moving the needle the most right now? I would say CX, but again, people have different definitions of that. You'll see people using it interchangeably with UX and service design and things like that, which I tend to do, and you'll see people who think CX is just customer support. It's just customer support and the metrics that we check to see if our customers are happy, that's CX. And I say, well, in reality, there's a lot of these things that can start to be brought together more. I would like people who work in my definition of CX and UX to be working on those metrics and looking at those metrics and partnering with marketing to see what needles are we moving and how and why, and if it's going poorly, what do we fix over in our realm in the research, architecture, design, and testing universe to make these things better. Again, whether that's service design, UX design, product design, visual design, whatever, writing, whatever needs to be improved. Corrales, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have a follow-up question. No questions in YouTube yet. So now I'm going to get to the second question that I received over email because it's a long one and it's complicated, and we're going to spend some time on it because this person needs help. Here's the question. I'm going to read it to you. Hey, Debbie, recently bought your book and I'm very excited to read it. Thank you, anonymous person. I'm finding myself in a situation where I need someone else's perspective and advice, and I thought, why not ask you? You're right, it's free. Why not? I'm currently an in-house UX researcher for a product company. It's been great so far, but there have been plans recently on establishing a UX research boot camp for training up product managers to do UX research and provide training and capability development for them. As the UX researcher, I will also be responsible for supporting our product managers' research studies and helping them out with anything they need, from setting up the study to running the interviews and all the way to analyzing data for insights. To be honest, I can't help but feel off about it, mainly because I won't really be doing as much UX research anymore because I'm more of the support role for the product managers that will now be doing it. It just feels weird that my role is to set other people for success, and yet I feel like it's a trade-off with strengthening my UX practice. I have voiced my concerns with my manager, but it seems like they want to scale quickly and let product managers do their own research since I'm the only UX researcher in the company. What are your thoughts on this? What should be my next move? Do I stay or do I start looking for a new role? Thanks again and hope things are going great in Italy. Well, you guys can see why that question came in anonymously. That is somebody's current struggle at their job, and I feel for them. So I have a lot to say about this one. I'm probably going to spend a lot of time on this, but if you have your own thoughts and comments and questions on it, put them in the LinkedIn or YouTube chat, and we want to hear what you think as well. So here's how my opinion on that is your company obviously doesn't understand what a UX researcher does, because anytime a company thinks that we can just create a little boot camp and you can teach everybody to do your jobs and you'll just hang around and support them and you won't really do the work anymore, I think that that tends to be a company that is lowering itself on the UX maturity scale. The higher we go on the UX maturity scale, and in my book I also count the UX autonomy scale, would be that we want to move towards higher UX maturity and more UX autonomy. But when we start teaching UX that they need to just teach other people their jobs and isn't it kind of easy and you're just a facilitator, the problem is that echoes a lot of things that we hear, unfortunately, from some books that have gained popularity. Chances are someone read Lean UX, because Lean UX says everybody can do everything. You don't want specialists. The book literally says you do not want specialist researchers working on things. You want the whole team doing it. So So I think that this sounds like someone doesn't understand UX, read a couple of the books that do not serve us, that people did not stand up against at the time when they came out. They figured who would ever go for this, and they ignored them. And now these books are gaining in popularity with non-UX people, which no one saw coming. So I get the feeling somebody, yeah, Christy says, ask them if you can do the product management. This is ridiculous. Christy's totally right. It, where a new VP of UX came in, and I was pretty sure that this person was an imposter. But whether or not you believe me that they're an imposter, they were a pretty bad manager. Everyone could tell this person wasn't listening. This person liked to talk a lot and not listen. And this person, of course, came in. I'm going to just post quickly about that to LinkedIn because I don't know why that's happening. But let me just post that quickly to those watching the live stream. LinkedIn died again. Sorry. Please go to YouTube to continue. Let's get the link. Sorry, this is going to be very boring to watch back, I know. I was working up to a fever pitch there. So what happened was this guy basically said, you know, we're a little bit low on UX researchers. We had a dedicated team of researchers who specialized in the research and the testing. So people like me who were more architecture, interaction design, we weren't allowed to do research and testing. We had to partner with the researchers. And I think we had maybe 4 specialized researchers who were, that manager was very picky. Everybody had to have a master's degree and mountains of years of experience. We had really wonderful, talented people. And then this new VP comes in of UX and says, no, 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 anybody can do UX research. We need more people researching. And they actually, the VP's decision was to have the UX researchers teach product managers. So again, it sounds like everyone's reading the same crappy book. Teach product managers to do guerrilla testing, or it was either guerrilla testing or some sort of user testing. And so the highly qualified researchers had to teach the product managers in 1 hour. There was a 1 hour boot camp to teach product managers to run their own testing. The downside to this, and I mean, there are a million downsides to this, but the downside to this was that, first of all, seemingly within minutes, though I know it took longer than that, all of the researchers quit. So first of all, to the person who wrote the email, if you decide to start interviewing and move on, I completely support you in that. It's going to be very difficult for you to stay in that environment where you are not understood, not respected, and you're looked at as a school teacher or a facilitator or someone who just checks other people's work like you're a coach. I don't think you're going to be totally happy there, and I don't think it's going to satisfy your soul to see the work that the product managers do, because let's face it, not every product manager is going to be a great UX researcher. At the company that I'm talking about, it was extra bad because some of the product managers had a reputation for manipulating statistics and information. So they would manipulate information to get projects approved, and then they would manipulate the information when the experimental data and stuff came back from after release. And magically every project had to be done, and magically every project was a success. So not only were you giving UX research to non-UX people, but you were in our case, you were giving it to people who really had a horse in the race. These were people who, the great thing about UX is that if we're good at what we do, we have to be low ego action heroes. We have to be able to say, hey, you know what? I ran this test on this thing, or I ran this research on this thing, and hey, we're going in the wrong direction. And it's great to know that early, and no skin off my nose. Let's build the better thing. Sometimes, not always, some product managers, especially where they've gotten approval for a project and funding for the project, and they've mapped out the project and they've prioritized the features and they're writing user stories and they want engineering to start, wouldn't it be great if our research and testing supported this? And so you run the risk that people who have a real horse in the race are going to be the people who say, "Ah, look, our research really supported that." And so you run into an issue where you might be handing research over to people who are very naturally biased. And we understand that. We have empathy for them. We understand why they'd want to be biased. But that means that's poor research. One of the things that I do when I do my 1 day long Dev and UX workshop privately at companies, which helps companies understand UX and why specialists do it and how to collaborate with them, is I do a little exercise on what are good UX research questions. And I just have people write them and they go up on the screen through a polling system. And I find that most people ask terrible questions. And they think that these are good UX research questions like, "Hey, customer, what do you want?" and things like that. And so I find that many people are just not naturally good at research. Could they get better with some training? In some cases, this is a skill thing, and some people will get better. But I tend to think of CX and UX jobs as heavy personality and talent jobs. And if someone has a little bit of ego, a horse in the race, if they're really worried about the project, the timing of it, oh my God, let's just get some research that shows that this is a good idea. They think that that's the way to go because then it supports their ideas and approaches, but ultimately, it doesn't. Ultimately, we will find out later when we build the wrong thing that we built the wrong thing and who will be held accountable. At the place where I worked, product always told me, don't worry, just do what we say because we're held accountable. UX won't be held accountable. Ultimately, the whole team should be held accountable. So, looking back at the original question, it's a trade off with strengthening my UX practice. Yes, you're not going to strengthen your own UX practice if you are a coach to other people. Your portfolio material will go away. You'll only have portfolio material up to now because if you're not doing the research, what would you put in your portfolio or use as a case study? So you won't be able to show the work that you did. And if you're thinking about that next job, if they care about UX research, if they have good UX maturity and autonomy, then they're not looking to see if you were a good research coach teaching product managers. So, like, this is not a skill or something you've done that's going to look great to the next job. It's going to be kind of like, why did you do that? And how long did you stay? And was that a disaster? And things. And I'm seeing now that, yes, the LinkedIn stream died. I don't know why it died. That's just so strange. I'll have to keep working with customer support on my new system. Um, I don't know if that's enough of an answer or if that's too much of an answer, but I would say to the person who asked, I would probably be working on my resume and getting out of there because to me it's a clear sign that the company doesn't understand UX and doesn't respect it. Because in reality, if you want to scale up UX research quickly, you don't try to retrofit other people into a UX job. We don't say, "Hey, go get 2 people out of marketing, 2 programmers, a QA person, and a scrum master, and let's just make them into UX people." Companies do that, but that's not a sign of UX maturity. So I would say this is a company that is lowering itself on the UX maturity scale. You are absolutely welcome to show this video to your manager if you would like. I would tell the manager that I understand why you're doing this and I understand that it can make sense, but UX is not a retrofit job. UX is the type of thing that takes years to be good at. And we see this more and more because companies don't even have junior jobs anymore. They want people who can show years of experience like right away. People don't even want newbies anymore. And if we don't want newbies in jobs, essentially your product managers are UX newbies. And UX is mission critical. It absolutely is. If product had a great roadmap and engineering built it well and marketing tried to market it and sales tried to sell it, but the product is crap or it's hard to use or it's hard to learn, or it doesn't meet customers' needs, I'm talking to you, manager, what did we do? What did we do? If your product managers manipulate the research, what have we done? How is that going to benefit your company? So the real way to scale up UX quickly, so the fastest way to scale up UX quickly, no holds barred, I would say the number one way to scale up UX quickly is to hire an outside agency. An outside agency, hint, hint, an outside agency, there are plenty of them out there, not just mine. We've got piles of people, and we've got people who are waiting and ready to do the jobs, and we know even more people we can grab if we need to. You want to scale up fast? You bring in an agency. I've seen that done in other companies. It can work. There's a little bit of time that it's going to take to mesh everybody together when internal company people start meshing with external kind of contractors, consultants, hired guns, freelancers, however you want to look at them. There is going to be that time, but the best way would be to go to an agency and say, we need 60 hours a week of UX researchers. That's 2 people working whatever, that's 3 people working 30 hours a week each, whatever it is. That is the fastest way to scale up your UX research and make sure that you are maintaining the quality of the research that's being done. And of course, you would want a UX expert to be vetting those people. Then the person who asked the question will stay at the job, will keep the job, and will just work with will share that work, they're probably overwhelmed, with other people. The worst way is to do nothing, and the second worst way is to try to retrofit other people. You know, we don't see that in other parts of the company, and this proves to us how much UX is misunderstood. Nobody says, you know, we got a little bottleneck in programming. We probably need 2 more developers. Just grab some marketing people and have the developers teach them the code. You know, we never say stuff like this. We only say it with UX, and it just shows how little we know about UX. So, person asking the question, can I please come to your company and do my one-day Devon UX workshop so everybody there can get the light bulb turned on about what UX actually is? I hope that answered your question. I kind of hope you showed it to your manager. I kind of hope you find a way to stay at this job and that your job changes course. And remember what LinkedIn Room said before LinkedIn died? You know, would you tell UX people like, hey, we need a product manager, just do product management? Product management's tough, complex. You know, can you learn it? Sure. In a week or in a few hours? No. So I'm going to stop there with that question. We've got a follow-up from Corrales. Thank you so much for following me from LinkedIn over to YouTube when the LinkedIn stream died. Corrales says, you mentioned CX may replace brand. How would brand values transfer to CX? The brand values pillar is, in my opinion, the driver of everything, including CX, but how will values transfer to CX? So I am not one of the people saying brand is going to be replaced by CX, but I am seeing some articles out there about it, so I don't want to represent other people's opinions incorrectly. I'm sure you can Google for this and get a stack of Medium articles that will say, yes, it is, no, it isn't, and maybe. But what I'm finding is because more and more people are understanding that CX, if we have a good definition of it, is every experience a customer can have. So hypothetically, that would be your screens experience. It would be your in-person experience. So I like to use examples of a hotel. The hotel has the digital experience where you might have used a website or an app to book your stay. You might use the website or the app or mobile web while you're at the hotel. And then you've got the non-digital stuff, which is part of CX, which is what was the room like? How do the staff treat you? How did they decorate the place? What feeling and sense does the place give you? What were the front desk staff like? How was the check-in process? Somebody service designed that. How was that check-in process? Did you deal with the person? Did you do it from the app or a kiosk? So all of that is CX, but also, hypothetically, CX is also our interactions with this company and brand through social media. I've angry tweeted you. Through live chat, I need help. Through customer support, I called you. These are CX as well. Now, for some companies, this is only CX, but to me, ultimately, a lot of if it touches the customer, we have to call it CX. But then where it gets blurry is people say, well, marketing touches the customer. Is that now CX? Sales touches the customer. Is that now CX? And I go, okay, look, I don't want everybody in the CX department. That's just going to get silly. But I think CX has to be focused on these customer interactions, products, services, and experiences. And then the other departments are partners to us. We have to partner with them and work in both directions with them. So brand values are important. And in my book, I say we also need CX or UX department values. Who are we hiring for? What are the values? In fact, I can try to find it in my book because I tell you what my values are as my company, and that way people can use them if they like them or change them if they don't. Let's see, values. I think that's page 122. Who has the giant heavy book version? Hands up. Let's see. Okay, here's the values for my company. If you've got the book version, it's page 122. My values, and I've got a name for them. I call them brilliance as a service. And my values are, and I'll just read them quickly. I won't go into the deep descriptions. Humility, curiosity, integrity, tenacity, proactivity, and collaboration. So these are the values that I expect from CX and UX specialists who might work for or with me. And I think that they make a good set of values for any CX or UX team, though you can certainly adjust them for yours. Might those also be your brand values? Maybe, maybe not. The brand might have some different ones, or the company might have some different ones. But I think it's also important for a CX or UX department to come up with their own so that they can really focus in on what they're hiring for and also be ready to reward people for showing those values. You know, if I see an example of somebody in my company that's doing something with great humility and low ego, I want to call that out as a positive and go, you did a great job there. You know, you could have made that about yourself and you didn't make that about yourself. And that's great. You really upheld our value of humility. So how do values transfer to CX? Hypothetically, they could be the same, or the CX UX leadership might decide that there are different values for the department. So that's kind of up to you. Let's see. My brand new computer doesn't meet the recommended tech specs for higher frame rate. Okay, that's interesting. This is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. Let me know what other questions you guys have. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know we lost a lot of people there when the LinkedIn stream died. Not everybody moved over to the other thing, YouTube, but thanks to those of you who have. If you have any questions, I'll take them. Otherwise, I will certainly wrap up the questions and we can try this again another day. I might have to move back to my old system while we figure this out. Oh, Corrales, awesome answer. Thank you. Just downloaded your book on my Kindle. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do or don't, let me know. I always want to hear people's feedback. If you do enjoy it, I hope you'll leave a nice review on Amazon. If you don't enjoy it, just tell me. If there's, I know we only have a few people here. All the LinkedIn people didn't carry over, but hopefully the people who ask the 2 anonymous questions have been able to see this YouTube archive and got their questions answered. If you have follow-up questions, use the link deltacx.link, my URL shortener, /AMA for Ask Me Anything. That will come in as an anonymous question. If you have non-anonymous questions, you're always welcome to ask them in YouTube or LinkedIn. I am sorry the LinkedIn stream has been dying. I will certainly keep troubleshooting that and do what I can because I do want to be live on LinkedIn as well, but my new system is getting funky. With that, I think I will wrap it up for today. This one's been about 33 minutes, and I know we lost a lot of people along the way. But thanks to those who joined in. Quick programming note, please join tomorrow, Wednesday, the 12th of February at 5 p.m. Italy time. So ask Google what time that is for you. We will be going live with improv comedy. I will make sure to use my old system so that we don't lose the LinkedIn people. Improv comedy will be live from 5 to 6. We will be doing a comedy, ridiculous, silly, lean UX canvas. And join Thursday, I'll also be using the old system there. 6 p.m. Italy time, so change it for your time zone. We're going to do a live podcast with two special guests who are hiring managers to talk about what they've been seeing from job applicants that have gone to boot camps and trade schools because the news isn't good. So I will wrap it up for now, but thanks again to everybody who joined and asked questions. And I'll see you again soon on some other stream. Thanks.